So guys, so you saw Kevin's video. We went to the track the 13th of August, which is like almost 2 weeks ago now. Uh, so you saw the video. You know, it was kind of a cluster because the whole week before that Friday night, the weather was saying 80% chance of rain, 70%. So I never thought we'd get to go. It had been raining so much. Uh, So I really didn't think we were going to get to go. So Friday rolls along, and weather forecast was still showing 50% or better. And well, maybe it'll work out. Well, in the afternoon, they went ahead and made the call. They're going to go have races. So I thought, great. But I didn't load up the car the night before like I would normally do because I didn't want to jinx it. So I came home from work, threw the stuff in the car, uh, and went up to the track. Didn't run. It was good to get to the track and see the guys again, but the night wasn't real good because the car wasn't running right. Or rephrase that, the car was running fine. I just made a couple of changes to it. Number one, I forgot to bring the right boom tube for the car. So when I did try it with the boom tube on, the boom tube was pointing up in the air and it was all jacked up, and I was like, all right. So I took it back off. So I didn't have any kind of ram air setup on the car. And also, that week prior, I had taken the rear control arms upper and lower, and I took the nuts off the bolts and I put lock nuts on. And I thought, when I had the Capri, was putting the rear lower control arms on it, I was torquing the bolts and seeing where I could torque it to before I could feel it drag on the control arms, because I wanted it to move easy. So when I first put the Team Z stuff on there, I contacted Team Z and asked them, hey, when you put the control arms on there, don't you torque them? And they're like, nah, just run them down so they're tight. I said, well, what's tight? I mean, I can put shit on there tight and they ain't coming off again, but somebody else might be, whatever. So, and I see on their videos they're using a 3/8 inch wrench and they're just kind of like, just giving a little grunt and that's it. And I was like, that's weird. So I got to have a torque spec, So I come up with, I think it was 50 foot-pounds on the lowers, and then I went 20 foot-pounds on the uppers. And it seemed to tighten it up a little bit, but in doing so, I left the strut and shock settings the way it was when the suspension was really kind of loose. And, I can see from their point about having something that's loose, in a manner of speaking, when you got a car that goes from the trailer to the staging lanes, down the track, and then back to the trailer. I mean, I drive mine every day, and I drive it all over all kinds of roads and stuff, so I was just having a little more comfortable feeling it with the having them torqued. So I had to, with a car that doesn't make a lot of power like mine, having the suspension give real good seemed to work better if I tightened the struts and shocks up. So I had the struts at like 4, and I think I had the shocks at 6. And everybody else that I've seen or have talked to about it, they said they usually have theirs struts at 1 and the shocks at 5. So that's what I should have done, but I didn't even think about it. Like I said, I didn't think we'd get to go. So I went to the track and ran it. Of course it's hot. It's going to be slowing down from its typical high 17s to 720s. Excuse me. So I was kind of thinking about it after. I should have set the struts to 1 and the shocks to 5 to counteract tightening up the suspension. So I think that, and having the not having a ram air, having the wrong boom tube kind of made it a little different. That's why the 60 foots are all in a 150 foot range, or 150, 1.50s, high 156s, I think. We're typically in the 140s. So I mean, granted, the temperature had something to do with it, but anyway, it's a lesson learned. So we're gonna press on, and we'll go look at the time slips. So here's the first one. You got to look, you know, some of these it's got 005 on the top and some 00. I think the lady sometimes gave me Pirates slips. He was 005. So the first run against Michael, I was really asleep on the switch here. I run a .499 reaction time, and then a 753 at 90.22, had a 154 60 foot. So that was kind of set the tone for the rest of the night. It run in the same range the rest of the night. On the second one, I had a little better reaction time. I was awake this time. .004. You have to excuse me if my voice sounds a little funny. I'm getting over some crud. And then the third pass, that's when I was in the staging lanes, and then I was sitting there. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't put the seat forward like I normally do. So I moved the seat up and then proceeded to climb third. And then came back around for a hot lap and did the same thing. Came back around another hot lap, and then managed to hit all three gears. Had a 156 60 foot again. Like I said, typically 60 foots are in the 140 range, 147, 148, 149 or better. So, and then I think I put a little bit of fuel in it, because remember on the dyno I kept leaning it out. Well, I put a little fuel back in, went a little quicker, and picked up a little bit on the mile an hour. So then went ahead and did another pass. I think that's a hot lap again. Yeah, 10:04. Just went back around. Starting to cool off a little bit. 60 foot drop down just a whisker. 741 at 91.3. And then last pass of the night, it's kind of same deal. 155, 745, 91.1. So all in all, I mean, like I said, it was fun to get back up there and get back on the track finally, but I see some things I need to do better. Most notable among them is I've still, and you can really see it on the first pass, when I'm switching gears or shifting, I'm still jamming the clutch all the way to the floor. And you can see it especially on the first pass, when I go to the 1-2 shift, you can see the front end comes down, the car rolls forward, and then it comes back up again when I finally get in the second and let the clutch out again. So that's something I need to work on. I got to get in the habit of just kicking the clutch and cut some of that time down where it's not accelerating. And lastly, I need to get a new seat, because that seat in the car is a stock seat. And as you can imagine, a highway patrol car, seat's pretty wore out. So and the back rest, whatever, is busted, so I can't incline or decline it. It's just like stuck in that one spot. So that's what's I can't get the seat in the way I want to, so I'm gonna remedy that at some point. But in the meantime, we're gonna keep hammering on it and see what we can do. Have some things learned, so by the time the weather gets cold, we'll have some good better times, I hope. I got the boom tube situation figured out. I got the tune dialed in. I think it'll work a lot better, so we'll be ready for it next time, whenever that is. Weather's supposed to be crappy again tomorrow, so I don't know when we'll get back up there, but when we do, we'll let you know. Appreciate y'all, fellas. Later.